Let me introduce you to Pastor James Huang. He's a dedicated researcher of Korean mission history who, after serving as a missionary in China, now ministers in Maryland. We're going to be sharing a story from his book, Remember and Repay, 52-Week Mission Meditation. And this week, we're diving into the mission history for the second week of January. It's an incredible story about a journey that truly changed everything.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at why one particular day is so important. Then we'll jump into the dramatic story of the first voyage itself. After that, we'll meet the people who actually orchestrated the whole thing. And finally, we'll explore the incredible legacy that journey left behind. All right, first up, a day to remember. Let's really dig into why this one date, January 13th, is so pivotal. You know, January 13th is officially known as Korean American Day, but it's so much more than just a name on a calendar. You can think of it as the very first page in the long, rich story of the Korean American experience. For millions of people, this is where it all began. And what's interesting is that it wasn't until pretty recently, December 2005 to be exact, that the U.S. Congress made it official. So what was it about that day over 100 years earlier that was so important it deserved its own special recognition? To really get it, we have to rewind the clock. We've got to go back to this unbelievable story of the very first group of immigrants and their incredible and pretty dangerous journey across the massive Pacific Ocean. Okay, so picture this. It's December 22nd, 1902. A steamship, the SS Gaelic, pulls away from the port of Jemalpo with over 120 hopeful passengers. But this was no direct flight. They had to make a really critical stop in Nagasaki, Japan for health screenings, a huge hurdle. And then, finally, after that long, tough voyage, they arrived in Honolulu, Hawaii on that fateful day, January 13th, 1903. And you might be wondering, who were these people? Well, it was an incredibly diverse bunch, all searching for a new life. You had about 50 church members traveling together, another 50 or so laborers and merchants, and then this mix of about 20 others. We're talking students, scholars, even servants. It was truly a cross-section of an entire society, all together on one ship. But man, this journey was just filled with heart-wrenching moments. The first major obstacle hits them in Nagasaki. During those health screenings, 20 people were told they couldn't continue. Just like that, their dream was over before they'd even really begun. And if you can believe it, the hardship wasn't over. After finally reaching Honolulu, so close to the finish line, the group faced one last screening. And incredibly, another 15 people were turned away, denied entry at the very last step. So, let's do the math. Out of more than 120 people who started this journey packed with hope and dreams, only 86 actually made it through. These 86 resilient, determined individuals became the very first Korean immigrants in America. Which, of course, begs the question, right? How on earth did a trip like this even get organized in the first place? Well, let's talk about the architects, the people working behind the scenes who made it all happen. I mean, seriously, think about it. It's 1902. Organizing a group voyage across the Pacific Ocean, that's a monumental task. The answer, as it turns out, lies with two American missionaries who were working in Korea at that time. And their roles were perfectly distinct. On one hand, you had Dr. Horace Allen. He was the diplomat, the one who played the decisive role in basically getting the door to America unlocked. But then you had Reverend George H. Jones. He was the one who made it all a reality. He organized the people and guided that very first group right through the door Allen had opened. And Reverend Jones wasn't just some outsider. He was deeply rooted in the community. He'd been in Korea since 1888 and had served in the Jemalpo region for 11 years. He was the pastor of the local Wesley Church right there in the port city the SS Gaelic sailed from. His connection to the people there was absolutely essential. But here's the thing. This whole story isn't just about those 86 people who finally set foot on Hawaiian soil. The impact of this one voyage was so much bigger. It turned what was just a tiny trickle of people into a steady, flowing stream. And I mean a major stream. According to records from the Hawaii Immigration History Museum, this one trip just blew the doors wide open. In just the next 2 years, from 1903 to 1905, an absolutely staggering 7,415 more Korean immigrants arrived on 64 different ships. This quote really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? The SS Gaelic wasn't a one-time thing.
Not at all. It was the start of a huge movement. It was like the first domino to fall, setting off a chain reaction that brought 63 more shiploads of people, all building the very foundation of today's Korean American community.
So that brings us to this final thought. When you think about the immense challenges, the health screenings, the uncertainty, the incredible courage of those first 86 pioneers, it really makes you wonder, what is the real legacy of their journey of hope and hardship for the millions who have followed in their footsteps? That's a powerful question to reflect on.